Welcome back, everybody. The Obama administration wants all government officials on the same page this September 11th. And to do so, they've issued guidelines telling federal agencies exactly how to observe the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, but those guidelines, which actually directs people to perhaps downplay the role of al-Qaeda, not sitting well with members of Congress. Congressman Michael Grimm is a New York congressman. He was a first responder on 9/11, joins us to talk about it. Congressman, always great to see you here on the show.
Good to see you.
These guidelines seem a bit murky here because a lot of people say they really haven't seen them. They don't know what's in them, but it seems like a lot of people have an opinion that the White House is trying to downplay the role of al-Qaeda in the September 11th attacks. Is that what you're hearing?
Well, I think it's more than that, though. Broadly, whether you've seen the guidelines or not, the fact that the president put out guidelines is the problem. This is emblematic of this administration and the direction that this country is headed. The American people know how to mourn, how to reflect, how to think upon this day, especially as a New Yorker, as a first responder. This is something that's very visceral, very personal. The idea that the White House is going to give me guidelines on how I need to do this is reprehensible. And again, the more government you have, the less personal liberties, and I think this epitomizes that. How I reflect on 9/11 is certainly a personal liberty, and think that the President of the United States would put out a guideline because, what, I'm not capable of doing it myself? I mean, I think that goes to the arrogance and the hubris of this administration.
And one of the ways you want to observe 9/11 is going to be, in a sense, included in some legislation that you want to introduce and will on Wednesday. If you can tell everybody about it right now.
I will be dropping legislation as soon as we get back and Congress is in session to make a national monument out of the 9/11 cross. We've heard about this I-beam, and the atheists out there don't want it in the museum. And again, let me just say, it is not about Christianity. This cross was a symbol of comfort and hope for 9/11 first responders, for families, for all those that were part of this, horrific terrorist attack. And it's part of the healing process, it's part of that closure, and it's part of the history of that situation. And I mean, when I say situation, I'm talking about from the attack all the way through till today, where people are still trying to heal and put their lives back together.
One of the things also that we're not privy to a lot of this private security information, hearing rumblings that all Americans need to be vigilant. And one of the guidelines is to warn the Americans they must be prepared for another attack. It's scary to hear on the 10th anniversary of 9/11.
But that's the reality. The world changed on 9/11. The United States changed forever. We will always have to remain vigilant. Unfortunately, terrorism and the threat of terrorism is part of the world we live in now. And it is incumbent upon all Americans to look for things that may be out of the ordinary, whether it be a package left alone or someone acting oddly. This is now the world we live in, and I will tell you, I just came back from Israel. It's a part of the culture for Israelis. They've had to deal with this for many generations, and now, unfortunately, the United States has to do the same.
All right, Congressman Michael Grimm, also a United States Marine. Good to see you as always.
Good luck with the legislation this week.
Have a great Labor Day.
Have a good Labor Day as well.